welcome back to vlog number 5. I'm so glad you're still with me on the vlog mini-series. Now let's go ahead and talk about chapter 5 and chapter 6 from DEI Deconstructed. Now I want to go ahead and talk about the main takeaways. For chapter 5, we know it was about power, but there are a few things that stood out to me that I want to go ahead and discuss. So let's get into it. For chapter 5, it discussed power. Now, when the author was talking about the power, they were talking about internal and external power. And a company that I started to think about was a former company I used to work for. It's a huge, large corporation. If you can guess it, can you guys guess it? Yes, it is Disney. Now Disney is a top-down model, and when I worked there, it was during the years 2018 to 2021, so it was pre and during pandemic. Now DEI work it's grown a lot, right? And Disney is wanting to be one of these companies that is recognized as DEI forward. Now, what I mean by that is that Disney wants to take pride in diversity, inclusion, and equity. However, just because they want to go ahead and take pride or say that they do these DEI initiatives, it does not mean that the DEI initiatives are actually successful. Now, as a cast member, when I was working there, they were very, very strict. Very strict in the sense that the way your appearance mattered. For women, you had to have a solid hair color. Now, this wasn't too much of an issue. However, hair texture was something that was kind of not talked about during onboarding, but kind of talked about when you were in your designated area. What I mean by hair texture is if you had braids or locks, sometimes they would not call that as show ready, meaning that your appearance wasn't presentable enough to be working your shift. Now, for a company that wants to take pride in diversity, we need to celebrate all women's type of hair, whether it's textured or length. They did not do a great job at that. Things have changed post-pandemic because of the internal stakeholders being the cast members, and also the external stakeholders being the everyday guest and the pass holders. They started to realize like there was a lot of uniformity and not a lot of room for a person to display their own identity. And as I transition to chapter 6 regarding identity, I love this chapter. The author did a great job at talking about how a person can wear multiple identities because of intersectionality, but at the same time that they have multiple identities, it does not mean that my identity is the same as someone else's identity. For example, I consider myself Mexican, but I always joke that I'm a bad Mexican because growing up, I didn't really listen to the everyday Spanish music that I feel like Mexican people maybe grew up listening to, being first generation as well. And I also didn't grow up Catholic, so a lot of the traditions were different. I grew up Christian. So when I met people and I would tell them I'm Mexican, and they would assume you're this type of Mexican, but I'm this type of Mexican, I felt like my identity was less than, and the author did a good job at making the point that just because you have one identity, it does not mean it is the same as someone else's identity who might share the same identity. And I love the piece about language. Something that I've seen all throughout this semester is this language piece and how much it's changed and how much it continuously is changing. The language piece, it really grabs my attention because I feel like language is something that you're continuously learning, and it's continuously changing based on a lot of things. So if you're not keeping up with language, you're not really keeping up with DEI, because it is continuously changing, just like DEI is, because there's different needs that need to be met. And I really enjoyed both chapter 5 and chapter 6. Let me know your thoughts, and I hope to see you back for the next vlog. Bye!